Hey, I'm the Shasta one, and about 3 days from the time of this recording, I should be finishing my first 50 miler. This is the 50 mile man against horse in Prescott, Arizona. I recorded a way too long video last night going over my race prep, and I'm going to give you the Spark Notes version because you don't have all the time in the world. I don't have all the time in the world. I want to get this video out tonight, so let's get into it. So, it's a nice downhill, just mostly flat, from the starting line down to about the first aid station. The aid stations on this map are the pink check boxes. The pink flags are the horse troughs and vet checks. The horses will be checked 3 times over the course of this race just to make sure that they're not being pushed too hard. The time spent in those vet checks is subtracted from the horse's total time at the end of this race. So you could beat all the horses and you still haven't beat all the horses. Sorry, them's the rules. But anyway, the first climb, which is actually the biggest climb of the day, starts at mile 6, and that is a 1,700-foot climb over the course of 6 miles. This is getting halfway up Mingus Mountain. Now, what's nice is at the very top of that climb, mile 15, is our second aid station, and this is where I will have a drop bag. That drop bag is going to have 3 of my precision 90-gram gels in it, and it'll also have 3 of my caffeinated goos in it to refill the amount that I will have taken on and ingested over the course of the first 15 miles. That brings up my fueling. Let's go ahead and Alt-Tab here. So these 3 precision gels here, these are what I will be eating over the course of those 15 miles, plus these 3 caffeinated goos here. If you zoom in, you can't really tell, but I promise they say 40 milligrams of caffeine each. That might be too much caffeine. I'm just going in over-prepared. So I'll be ingesting a third of these 90-gram pouches every 20 minutes. What that means is I finish 1 pouch per hour. Then I'm going to wait another 20 minutes, going to have my caffeinated goo, wait another 20 minutes, and start the process all over again with the next precision gel. So an 80-minute loop to finish a precision gel and a goo. So that's about 3 hours. I should be getting into the mile 15 aid station, hopefully by then. And here's my drop bag for the mile 15 aid station right here in the middle. And as you can see, it's just 3 more precision gels and 3 more goos. Back to the map. So we continue on our merry way, la-di-da-di-da. I'm just going to be using the sports drink they have provided on the course. I'm going to have 2 500 milliliter flasks on my chest. One is going to contain water, the other is going to contain sport drink, and I'll sit through them as needed and probably refill them at each or every other aid station. So we have our second climb of the day starting at about mile 28, and that one's going to be brutal. It's only 100 feet shorter than the first climb we discussed. This is 1,600 feet, and it takes place over the course of 3 miles or 5K. I'm looking forward to seeing what that grade is like because that's going to be pretty intense. That will bring us to our highest elevation of the day, 7,700 feet above sea level. I'm kind of concerned about that because I operate 100 feet above sea level, mostly. That's where all my training is, so I'll be really curious to see how the altitude affects me at this particular course. I've run at altitude before. I've run at higher altitudes than this. I've never done an ultra at altitude, so that is going to be very interesting. But fortunately, how I have this planned out and how the race directors have this planned out is that the tippy top of that tallest climb of the day is the mile 31 aid station. And we're going to Alt-Tab back, and that's where this drop bag comes into play. This is a high desert drop bag. This was recommended to me by a video by YouTuber Wes Plate. I really like it so far. And this is going to contain my road running shoes, just in case my Salomon Ultra Glides somehow fall apart over the course of the first 30 miles. There are also going to be an equal amount of precision gels and goos to the previous drop bag, and those should get me through the rest of the race. And a spare pair of socks. I don't anticipate on changing shoes or socks here. I don't think that would be wise. One of the hints that I've given my sister, who is also running, is that time in aid station is time wasted, so you really want to optimize those aid station stops when you get the chance. While we're on this screen, let's go through a few more things. These are Target all-in-motion shorts. They cost me like $10, and they don't chafe. So I'm probably going to be using those. There's a small chance I might be using leggings because it's going to be about 42 degrees Fahrenheit at the start of the race. These are Belega socks. I don't have much to say about them besides that they're comfy and they're padded on the ends when I stub my toes. This is a microfiber shirt that I got from the Colorado Marathon. You might recognize it from my previous videos. This is my official race shirt right now. I run all my ultras in it. We got the bandana here. The bandana's going to cover my mouth at the beginning of the race maybe because I want to feel like a bandit around all those horses. And they might kick up some dust and I don't really want to breathe it at the beginning of the race. I also thought that could be used for cooling or also just dabbing my forehead, but the high is going to be 65, and I'm not too worried about cooling. However, that is where the hat comes in. It's to keep sweat out of my eyes. There is a band around the head there that keeps the sweat off my forehead and also just keeps the sun out of my eyes as well. I'm going to have a GoPro so I can document the entire journey. And this is some waterproof tape that I can just pre-treat my toes and my heel, any blister hot spots on my feet before the race starts. Same goes for the body glide, just trying to minimize blisters and irritation. I'm going to have Lecky trekking poles in a quiver that is not in this picture. That's already been in Arizona waiting for me. Because it turns out that trekking poles are actually considered weapons by the TSA, and you can't put them on your carry-on luggage in the United States. So, the more you know. I think that just about covers everything here. These are electrolyte pills, I suppose. I'm going to have 2 of them in my vest, which is a Solomon Advanced Skin 12 that I just sewed up this morning because there was a little hole in the pocket. But those electrolyte pills, they're mostly just for good luck. I'm going to get electrolytes from pickles along the course. Really looking forward to that part. Anyway, moving on. So that gets us to mile 31, and it's net downhill from here. You're basically running back down Mingus Mountain with the exception of this just stretch out here to checkpoint 9. That's going to be uphill as well. I'm sure it's going to feel like a short climb compared to the rest of this, though. And so we just continue moseying on, right? We just head back down to the finish, downhill finish, and there we are. The cutoff of this race is 12 and a half hours. We're getting started at 7 a.m., and we are finishing at 7:30. The banquet starts at 6 or 6:30. I can't remember off the top of my head. But I want to be there by the banquet. I also just want to be there by the cutoff because I really want my first belt buckle. My initial goal for a 50-mile race was to do it in under 12 hours. And that was, I chose this race before I understood that it had a 12 and a half hour cutoff. So I might be cutting it close. I don't think I'll be cutting it close, but I might be. And that's really interesting. That really lights a fire under my butt to get across that finish line at a decent time. And I think that sums up the whole shebang. How about that? That was a lot shorter than the previous time I attempted this. Do I have anything else to add? I really have nothing else to add. I think that I summed up everything that I wanted to say there. So October 19th, 2024 is coming soon enough. And wish me luck out there. You might see this by the time that I'm already running it or have already ran it. I'm the Shasta one. Thanks for checking in. Maybe subscribe if you want to see the follow-up video about the race. I'll catch you next time. Take care of yourselves out there. Love one another. Peace.